I should probably start this video off and say that YouTube is one of the best platforms out there when it comes to creativity and just basically getting your name out there. The platform has been through many phases through its entirety of 17 years since its release, and I thought it would be fun to review all the different eras that happened. Now keep in mind that I'm not going to cover everything because there's so many little subcultures of YouTube, and I'm just going to point out the very significant ones that had an impact on the YouTube platform and what the trends were at the time of this era. Now, this is not a really research video. I did do some research, but it's not going to go into full detail like documentary kind of style video. It's more of a summary, and I might get some things wrong here and there. Now, let's start from way back in the beginning of February 14, 2005. YouTube was released. It wasn't until April 23rd, 2005 that the first ever YouTube video was posted by one of the founders, Jawed Karim, titled Me at the Zoo. Now, this really leads to one question, and that is, why was YouTube created in the first place? There's actually many reasons why YouTube was created. The main one being that it was supposed to be a video platform where you could post whatever content you wanted without any restrictions, which is kind of different from what it is now because you know how we have the kids restriction and the comments turned off, this and that. And you can't really post any vulgar, gory stuff on YouTube nowadays. As for the second reason, you may have noticed that there's a 2 month difference between the release of YouTube and the release of the first video. And that is because according to one of the founders, Stephen Chen, YouTube was supposed to be a dating website called Tune In Hook Up, where I'm guessing you post a video of yourself and people get to decide if they wanted to pursue you based on that video. I don't really know how it works because that's way back in the day and there's not much anything about it. As for the 2 month difference, look closely at the date YouTube was released. February 14, 2005, Valentine's Day. And the first video was released on April 23rd. So for those 2 brief months, YouTube was named Tune In Hook Up until it was later changed when the first video was released. Now for the third reason as to why was YouTube created, which makes the most sense actually, was that YouTube was supposed to be a video version of Google where you get to search up whatever information you wanted, but just in video form. Now this start of YouTube is what I call the origins era, YouTube's simplest moment, because back then all people did was just post random stuff about themselves, either ranting or just plain old talking or making video content that's really simple. And you may be familiar to this type of content because you might see in your recommended a video of low quality from 15 years ago of someone just talking about literally anything. Back in its release, YouTube didn't really pop off because it wasn't considered a social media website like MySpace or Facebook at the time. YouTube started to rise when creativity from the people on the website started to rise. You may recognize one of these people as the channel named Smosh. Smosh was a channel that did comedy and improv style videos founded by Ian Headcox and Anthony Padilla. In 2005, Smosh had the largest sub count in the history of YouTube with over 8,400 subscribers, which isn't considered a lot today but goes to show how far YouTube has come. Some notable YouTubers of this era are Ryan Higa, Fred, Shane Dawson,
Roll up to the party with my crazy pink wig, but I can't get through the door because my booty's too big,
and Brandon Rogers.
And this oxygen is turning my pianos into an alien hand!
You dance! Are you okay, Sebastián? You're on your own, caballero!
Dude.
MTV stands for Music Television and was a cable television network that premiered music videos. YouTube started posting music videos of celebrities that would garner millions of views. Not only that, but people started posting their own music instead of giving out their mixtapes in the street. I'm guessing MTV stopped getting traction around this time because with YouTube you could just search up whatever music video you wanted to watch without having to wait for MTV to premiere it. Not only that, but MTV started hosting 12 hours of ridiculousness, so I guess they caused their own downfall in that part. Another thing that's very vital about this era was that viral dances also started around this time too, and we can't forget the dislike drama between these two. But the reason why this is considered the golden era is because YouTube started giving ads and paying the creators at the time, which set the base to what YouTube is now and this big company where people get paid to make content.
Hello, I like money.
What do you get when you love comedy and music? Parodies. Parodies are a way to make something artistic into something comedic, if that makes sense. It seems as though skits and music videos had a love child which was named parodies. I actually enjoyed this era quite a bit, and creators you may recognize who made this type of content are Bart Baker,
Ziggy Iggs. I look like a dude dressed as a girl.
Shane Dawson, Joey Graceffa, The Hillywood Show, and my personal favorites.
I know you're looking at that cave and you're feeling kind of brave. Go to bed, you'll be alright.
So we back in the mine, got our pickaxe swinging from side to side, side to side.
Pop culture was and still is a heavy influence on YouTube culture and its algorithm. People were big fans of pop culture, started posting content surrounding their faves, with some examples being Gravity Falls and their conspiracy videos. Remember how people will reverse the little gibberish that would be on the show to see like what it would decipher, and their shippings of the characters. My Little Pony, which is equally weird, impressive, and funny. And it didn't stop there when people started posting fandom content of their favorite creators on YouTube, a very popular fandom being Dan and Phil. And the horror that was MadCon. I'm not even going to get into MadCon. You can fall down that rabbit hole on your own. YouTube fandoms are still around to this day, but in this era, it was just madness, and it was socially acceptable to be cringe about these fandoms. Pop culture wasn't the only thing that influenced YouTube. Other social media apps did too, and still do to this day. Around the DIY era, platforms such as Pinterest, Tumblr, and Instagram were popular because of the trend of creating those DIYs you'll see in those platforms. The overall appeal of the DIY era was to make things yourself without having to spend money on the actual product itself, and the freedom of customizing it the way you wanted. DIYs varied from furniture, fashion, food, and many more. Creators known in this era are Rosanna Pansino, RCO Beauty, Lord DIY, Wenji, Hello Maffy, Threadbanger, Sarah's Beauty Corner, and we can't forget Karina Garcia and her homemade slimes. Now, I will admit, I did participate wholeheartedly in the DIY trends. I remember I made a Lush bath bomb using RCO Beauty's tutorial because hers was the only one that did not include citric acid in it. Like, who has citric acid? Who has the money or even, like, the ability to obtain citric acid? Like, self-love and creativity has grown to be an internet culture in itself. But who would have thought beauty, glamour, and loving yourself creates so much drama? There's already videos from channels that have the word tea in it that explains everything you need to know of all the drama that is this era. Like, literally, it's like watching toddlers and TRs but with grown-ass adults and promo codes. But it's not all bad, right? Anyways, some people you may recognize who are from the beauty world are Jenna Marbles, Michelle Phan, Manny MUA, James Charles, Simply Neological, and Jeffree Star. With the ending of Vine and Musical.ly, many creators from those platforms sought refuge in YouTube. Most of them made the same content they did, which worked well with creators like Lele Pons, Hannah Stocking, Kane Botch, Amanda Cerny, and Rudy Mancuso, who collectively collab with each other a lot to keep their hype going. Some other refugees just switched to making YouTube-style content like Liza Koshy, the Dolan Twins, Gabby Hanna, Alley Cat, and the Paul Brothers. Now, the clout-chasing era started with organizations like Team 10, Clout House, The Phases, and Sidemen beefing with each other that prompted the diss track era, which was popularized by Rice Gum making diss tracks against Musical.ly refugees.
The girl on the track, she sound better than you. Someone diss me, I don't know, I'm like who? Said I can't.
I feel like it's Everyday Bro from Team 10 kind of set off a chain reaction. Like, they didn't like create it, but they did set something aflame with that song. And I might get a lot of hate for this, but the funniest diss tracks from this era were from Rice Gum and the Sidemen. Like, they would go in, like, rotisserie chicken everywhere, roasting everyone. Like, it was so, like, funny. It was like, this era is like, you love to hate it. It was so entertaining. And the hype you will feel while watching these diss tracks and all this beef was just immaculate. Memes have been here since the start of the internet, and with YouTube videos like this.
Movimiento sensual, sensual. Un movimiento muy sexy, sexy.
I can't look.
But the thing about this era was that our meme humor kind of evolved thanks to Twitter, Reddit, and Discord. Phrases like shookif, what's a tea, and ayup were the ideal slang which originated from Twitter. People started uploading compilations of memes that were titled with something like videos on my camera roll I watch at 3 a.m. or memes that butter my egg roll. I also remember a lot of YouTube content was centered around Reddit and Discord comedy. And I forgot to mention that reaction commentary channels would get traction because they reacted to said memes. Although this era isn't really significant, it is truly memorable and one of my favorite YouTube phases, even though this video exists because of it.
Here's the motherfucking tea.
Mukbangs originated in South Korea, where it features someone eating lots of food while also interacting with the audience. Mukbangs were originally supposed to be made by being live streamed, but became a YouTube niche by making pre-recorded videos instead of being live. ASMR, on the other hand, got its appeal because apparently listening to it gave you tingles. It went as far as to celebrities and magazine companies posting their own ASMR to appeal to the trend. Not only that, but Meme Era got their little hands on it. And just like any other era, controversy made itself known in the mukbang ASMR space. Creators most known from this era are Veronica Wang, Stephanie So, Nikocado Avocado, Trisha Paytas, Blove, Zach Choi, Sass ASMR, and this fool.
Oh my god.
Gaming has always been major since the birth of YouTube, with creators such as PewDiePie, KSI, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and DanTDM being the kings of it all. The reason why I bring up gaming is because due to the pandemic and being inside most of the time, gaming has taken a huge step forward in terms of popularity and the heavy consumption of this content. During quarantine, gaming videos was always on YouTube trending. Not only that, but the Minecraft renaissance happened right before the pandemic, with creators like PewDiePie and JSlap popularizing it, and Dream continued to make it stay relevant with his videos and SMP. They even had Little Oz Next as a guest star in the SMP, and then we have Jimmy Fallon and AOC playing Among Us over there. Like, what's the correlation? As someone who loved gaming since they were little, like, I never saw that correlation of celebrities and then Twitch streamers and, like, gamers on YouTube, like, playing together. But then again, it shows you how big the gaming became during the pandemic. And I often wonder if I started creating content around 2020, like, would I have been part of the big leagues by now? Probably not, but you know what I mean. This era is quite different than the rest because of the rise of TikTok dethrones YouTube a bit. Think of YouTube as Europe and TikTok as a bubonic plague. At this point, YouTube is at its lowest, and the reason why that is let me put it like this. 10 TikToks equates to a 15-minute YouTube video, and people want to absorb as much information as possible in a small span. So to sit and watch a 15-minute YouTube video about the same topic is not ideal right now. Honestly, the big thing that is happening on YouTube right now is Mr. Beast style challenge videos that actually do well in the algorithm. I don't know if it's because he's Mr. Beast or challenge videos are actually popular at the moment, but hey, he's winning the YouTube space right now. I'm giving him props for that. In this segment of the video, I want to briefly talk about the different phases of YouTube. The reason why I call them phases is because they are either less significant than the actual eras, but also too significant to be shoved into the eras I mentioned before. They're more like YouTube trends now that I think about it. And I also want to show you guys what YouTubers I watch from these phases so you can watch them yourself, or you can agree or disagree with me. We all have different views of different people on the internet. And like I said in the beginning, this is more of a lighthearted summary than it is an in-depth research documentary. So it's not really that serious. So don't get mad that I mentioned someone you don't like or someone that you just don't agree with. Like I said, you can politely disagree and go. And just enjoy the ride, okay? First and foremost, I want to mention the BuzzFeed phase. BuzzFeed was really big in the 2010s, garnering millions of views each video in multiple channels under the same company. In the late 2010s, you'll notice videos with the title Why I Left BuzzFeed, and it's impressive how big YouTubers emerged after leaving that big company in its prime. For example, the Try Guys and Michelle Khare, and the biggest one of them all being Safaya Nagar, who I actually watch and enjoy her content a lot. And the only BuzzFeed channel I watch is BuzzFeed Tasty, only for Rie. Next, we have the paranormal, conspiracy, true crime phase. Conspiracy videos have been around for a while, like I said before, an example being Gravity Falls conspiracy videos on YouTube. But they have been getting more relevant because people like Shane Dawson doing those types of videos. Paranormal content had its phase around the late 2010s, around the time BuzzFeed Unsolved started doing that type of content, along with Shane Dawson, who started dabbling around the paranormal. I love paranormal content as someone who used to watch Ghost Adventures every Saturday since they were 5. And the people that I watch as of now that do paranormal content is BuzzFeed Unsolved. Well, they're called The Watcher now. They made their own company with Shane and Ryan. And Sam and Colby. Now, with Shane and Ryan, I love that they have a skeptic there because I am too a skeptic. Even though I find it interesting, I still don't have like that belief that ghosts are there. As for Sam and Colby, although they kind of exaggerate a lot, they kind of do exaggerate. They kind of do the most, but they experiment a lot with like different devices and methods. Like I learned about the Estes method by watching them, so I really love their paranormal content.
We're going to do as the last method is called the Estes method. Basically, Matt, you haven't seen this before. It's pretty much sensory deprivation. So you'll have headphones where you can't hear anything. Also wear like a little blindfold. It's hooked up to a spirit box which will flip through channels. Basically, it sounds like static and you'll hear words every once in a while. I'm going to be saying those words while everybody else is asking questions. I won't be able to hear what you guys are saying. We might have a conversation.
The thing about true crime is that I don't know when it became a big thing on YouTube. I just know that it became a big thing because people would romantically fantasize or like romantically want to be involved with a serial killer. Like that is so gross. That's ill. That's not cute at all. It's horrifying actually. Like where did that attraction come from? And not only that, but true crime channels are off-putting because most of the time, these people, when they talk about someone being tortured alive or something, they're like doing their makeup or like eating, and while being so nonchalant about it too, which is weird. The only true crime channel I recommend is Bo's versus the World because she goes in on the psychology of like the people involved, and she explains the events of the crime really well. Not only that, but she live streams it so you can be there while she's reacting to these crime videos. And she also does other funny content too, so if you want to start watching true crime, I recommend her. You people aren't ready for this one. Now we're on to pranks. Now, I never had an interest in pranks on YouTube. I know there's genuinely funny ones out there, but the ones that they put me off are couples pranks. Like, couples pranks are the worst. The ones I have seen, like, clips everywhere, they're just the worst. Like, the only adjective I have is bad for these types of content. Like, get it away from me. Speaking of couples, we have family vlogs. I never got the concept of these vlogs because what are they trying to do? Are they trying to prove that they're a relatable family that struggles just like you? Or are they trying to show off that they're a perfect white picket fence nuclear family? Also, how do the kids feel because they don't get to choose if they want to be on the internet or not? Let me give you this scenario. Imagine you had a really, really bad day at school. Your mom is there to pick you up. As soon as you enter the car, there's a camera shoved in your face. And she goes, tell the audience, how was your day today? Don't you see the problem with that? And I know it's worse behind closed doors. I feel bad for everyone involved in these types of family concepts, except the parents. Next up, we have celebrities on YouTube. I do love watching celebrities on YouTube, only when they're featured on Hot Ones or on Vogue. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up because of that one controversy with Kylie Jenner, when she tried to sue everyone for using Rise and Shine because of that one clip from her YouTube channel. Does anyone remember the rap battle phase? Epic rap battles of history, princess rap battles, animated rap battles, all the battles, just give it to me. My favorite was always Epic Rap Battles of History, and they still do content to this day. I always wanted to be featured in one of their videos. I just want to be in the video. So maybe if I spam them a lot, they'll notice me. One day. We'll see. Last but not least, we have the animation phase of YouTube. During this phase, animators would get millions of views each video, which as they should because animation is time consuming and it's hard to be creative on this platform. These channels would often animate their life stories or opinions or even make up their own storytelling. And my favorite animators have to be Tabs and Scribble Juice because I appreciate how they use their art in such a comedic way and I just love their art styles overall.